So, what happens when a powerful king decides to declare war on an idea? Today, we're jumping right into one of history's most intense showdowns. You've got a ruler, a roaring fire, and a message that he is absolutely determined to wipe from existence.
I mean, really think about that question. It's something that has played out over and over again through history, right? We're diving into this incredible story from the book of Jeremiah, but this is so much more than just an ancient tale. It's really a perfect case study in the ultimate conflict between raw power and a truth someone doesn't want to hear. Okay, so let's set the scene. We're in the kingdom of Judah. It's about 605 BC, and the nation is in a really precarious spot, caught between rising superpowers like Babylon. And into this tense situation comes a scroll dictated by the prophet Jeremiah, and it's filled with these terrifying divine warnings of judgment. This thing isn't just a friendly note, it's a political and spiritual bombshell, and it is heading straight for the king's throne room. And this is where it starts to get really interesting. See, before the king even lays eyes on this scroll, his own officials get to hear it first, and they immediately get it. They understand just how serious this is. They don't dare try to soften the blow or just give him the highlights. Nope. They know that every single word has to be delivered exactly as it was written. So, King Jehoiakim calls for the scroll. But listen, this isn't some private reading in his chambers. The entire royal court is there. All the princes, all the important officials. All of a sudden, this has become a public spectacle. It's a national moment of truth. The king is being confronted with this message face to face in front of everybody. And right here, this is where the tension just goes through the roof. The message has been delivered. The king has heard it. And now everyone is just standing there, holding their breath, waiting to see what he's going to do. And his reaction? Well, it's one of the most stunning acts of defiance you'll find anywhere. You have to appreciate the irony of this scene. Picture it. It's cold outside, but the king is inside his winter palace, all cozy and warm, with a fire blazing in the hearth right in front of him. He's in this little bubble of comfort and power, and into that bubble comes this message of total destruction. He feels safe, he feels untouchable, but the words being read to him are basically a death sentence for his entire kingdom. And this is the moment. This wasn't some hot-headed, impulsive act of rage. No, this was cold, calculated, methodical defiance. As a few pages are read, the king just calmly takes out a scribe's knife, slices that section right off the scroll, and tosses it into the flames. And he does it again. And again. Over and over until the entire scroll is nothing but ashes. He is rejecting every single word, piece by painstaking piece.
And you can just feel the room split in two. You have the king and his closest servants, and they feel nothing. No fear, no regret. Their hearts are completely hardened. But then you have a few of the other officials, the ones who heard it first, and they're horrified. They're actually pleading with the king, please don't burn it. But he doesn't listen to a word they say.
You know, King Jehoiakim must have felt pretty smug in that moment. He had physically destroyed the words he hated. He probably thought, problem solved. But burning the scroll didn't end the story. Oh, no. It just kicked off a brand new, even more powerful chapter. So first he destroys the message, and now he goes after the messengers. The king issues a royal warrant to arrest Jeremiah and his scribe Baruch. But this is where the king's power slams into a wall. The text says it so simply, but the Lord hid them. It's just this blunt reminder that a king's authority only goes so far. God's response to the king's defiance isn't silence, it's amplification. Jeremiah gets a new command. Get another scroll and write down every single word that was on the one that was burned. But here's the kicker. It wasn't just a copy. The new scroll had even more warnings added to it. The king's attempt to snuff out the message only made it come back stronger. So what was the final score in the king's rebellion? Well, he managed to burn a scroll, but he couldn't burn away the consequences. Now the story pivots to the judgment that his actions brought down, not just on his kingdom, but on himself. The prophecy gets intensely personal now. It's a direct response to what he did. Because he burned that scroll, King Jehoiakim is told his dynasty is over. He will have no heir to carry on the royal line, and his own death will be humiliating. His body will just be cast out, left exposed. He didn't just reject a warning, he sealed his own fate. And what's wild is how history played out. Just a few years later, Jehoiakim is dead, and his dynasty dies with him. And then, in 586 BC, the Babylonians come, and they do exactly what the scroll predicted all along. They conquer Judah, and they burn Jerusalem to the ground. The very future the king tried to destroy with fire became his reality.
When you step back, the lessons here are just so powerful. You simply cannot cancel out a message like this. In fact, trying to destroy it can make it come back even stronger. Defiance has real, direct consequences. And in the end, the words on that scroll long outlasted the king, his throne, and his entire kingdom. And all of this leaves us with one last massive thought to chew on. King Jehoiakim proved that yes, you can burn a piece of parchment, but his story forces us to ask a much deeper question, one that rings true even today. Can you ever really destroy an idea with fire? Can a message, once it's out there, ever truly be silenced?